Drew's writing the book right now. What do you got, Drew? Tips for writing a book.
Oh, there's so many different ways. So I've gone through the gambit of like, I think I've rewritten my book at least twice at this point.
The whole book?
Like I had like 15,000 words with one method, and I hit a point where I was just like, this doesn't feel right. And then I had a conversation with an editor, and she kind of led me down a path that I thought made more sense. But yeah, so there's a lot of different strategies for writing a book. Me personally, the way that I approached it is I wrote an outline first. Basically, what's the goal of the book? What am I trying to accomplish with it? What do I hope the reader ultimately gets out of it? And then wrote the outline based on that. And then use the outline and basically just over time fill in the outline with experiences, stories, and takeaways. Looks like we have a AFKE right now.
Oof.
Lovely.
When is the book coming out, Drew?
Oh, gosh. I haven't actually set a date for myself, which is probably my first problem. Right now, I'm a little under 20,000 words, and I think ideally like 35 to 40 is kind of like where I'm shooting for. Granted, I also am debating on how I want to go through like the editing process, because I'm sure there will be plenty of editing. But anyways, as far as like techniques for actually getting the book written, first things first, putting time in your calendar is super, super critical. If you don't schedule it, then you aren't going to do it. Because a book is kind of one of those things where it looks like this huge, ginormous project that you're going to get done, and you will find every excuse to not work on it. So putting it in your calendar is very, very key. Some people, what I started doing was I wrote my outline and kind of filled in kind of like brief. Here are the stories that I want to tell. Here are the different things that I want to talk about. And I actually recorded it via audio, and then got Otter.ai, which is like a transcription service. They give you, I think, like 4 or 6 hours of free transcription. So as long as you have clean audio, like you can turn it into words. I did that for like the first chapter, and I did not find that process to be super helpful. I got a bunch of words done, but I felt like
It's all over the place.
yeah.
That sucks for someone like you. You're too structured in your thinking.
Yeah, so finally I decided to go ahead and sit down and just dedicate the time and actually write it out.
Yeah.
And that has been a little bit more fruitful for me. But lots of different ways to do it. It's just a matter of finding like what gels with you.
I think nonfiction, having an outline is helpful. I think you sit down and you figure out what is your book going to be about. Whether you want to go all the way and say like, what's my mission with this book, or who's the intended audience, or any of that stuff. But I think you need to treat it like it's a big coaching session. So the more you've actually field run the ideas on people, the better results you're going to get from the book. The more your book is actually going to have an impact on people. I think an outline is great. And then I get fiction might be totally different. I've never written a fiction book, so I don't know. But I think nonfiction should be based off your experiences. And either you sit down and write the outline, or you have somebody help you create the outline to pull the ideas out of your head. I think the two ways to do it are, well, you just went really dark.
But yeah.
I think the two ways to do it are either you sit down and you figure out the message, how you've helped people in the past, what the stories are you want to share to move people to action, or you get somebody there's a lot of these book in a box kind of offers where they interview you. Actually, I'm doing one coming up, not for a book, but for a book membership. There's a group called High Tide. I think that's the name, High Tide, where they do virtual book clubs and having the author involved as well. So they're going to do a challenge this month, Learn, Build to Serve. And they want they're going to read the book and they're going to see the bonuses they already have, but they want to add their own curriculum on top of it. And their process is, I don't have to think about anything. I'm just going to show up to a couple interviews where their content team is going to ask me questions about the book and how people are using it and whatever their process is. And they're going to make a course off of my ideas. And so they do that they don't do it, but people do it for books. And there's these book in a box services where somebody basically just interviews you. And over 5 to 10 interviews, they pull out the material and then go write the book. So that may be an option as well. One other thing on books, like start the marketing right away. Start talking about it, start building your list, start all of that. Like you can't start soon enough collecting people and talking about the book, because when the book comes out, that's when the hard work actually starts, which is marketing the book.